Welcome to another edition of the Kicking It with the Brothers podcast. It is exciting times as we are in the international break. Messi's doing great things in Argentina, another free kick. Oh my goodness, of course, because this is what he does. It wasn't against the MLS defense. Your boy Caicedo was on the pitch. Mr. Little, the $150 million man who we go get into next week. That's a little warm up. But more importantly, the Spanish team, the French team, the English teams, in my opinion, three of the four best in the world right now, are all in action this week. But without further ado, we got some club stuff to recap, and that's why I'm excited. Our boy Jacob, 3-1, Karabatsis, my man, Northeast is in the building. Thank you for coming through, bro. The Chris Collinsworth slide, just like your boy Dallo is still sliding through the Emirates from last week.
Hey, man. First off, the fact that you're flaunting 3-1 with the garbage time goal is nasty ass work. I'm not gonna lie.
The prediction, Charles. The prediction.
Insane. But I mean, yeah, it's interesting times for my club. So I'm thinking the international break was much needed for the guys. Hopefully. I don't know.
And
Saints
Charles,
are putting us through the ringer.
The Spanish B team, basically, Barcelona's boys, they are back and rolling. So I know you were in good spirits, brother. Took a pen, a red card, a lot of controversy, but 10 points on the board for your Barca boys. Welcome back, my brother.
I mean, dude, it's a long season, man. 38 games. No worries. Just try not to drop points early. Still unbeaten. So we're good on that side. My Spanish boys are taking it to Georgia right now. So, I mean, everything's good over here.
You can't win a league in September, but you can absolutely certainly lose a league in September, though. I think that's fair to say. However, excited. Fellas, just jump right into it. Going to be, I think, a pretty concise podcast with y'all, but definitely going to be full of discussion. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Excited. Charles, the summer transfer season is officially over. I think in June you wanted to kill us. June and July, me and X particularly, because it was Arsenal that was doing all of their work early. There's no need to keep talking about them. But however, we got to see a lot of transfers, obviously not only in Saudi Arabia, but I want to focus on Europe now. I think we are due for a Saudi Arabia conversation here pretty soon because their window just closed on Thursday. But Charles, who are the five best transfers that you saw in Europe this past window, excuse me?
Gundogan to Barca, definitely for leadership for what the team needed, plus the fact that he came on a free. McAllister to Liverpool is definitely up there. Just off, like, once again, what the team needed. We can really get into, like, who, we get into who had the best. Like, I would put Liverpool's transfer window up there just because they were sorely lacking in midfield, and they revamped the entire midfield this year. So props for that. Obviously, Bayern getting Harry Kane. We've been wondering for years if he was going to actually leave. He actually did it. Bayern actually made that shit happen. Yet again, another team who needed a striker, got tired of running Choupo-Moting out there, so replacing him with the best pure nine in the world is a big win. Getting him and the ability to having enough pull in your squad to get him off of out of England. That was a big grab for them. What was that, 3? Got 2 more. Obviously, I'm gonna give you some credit, Jude. Just
should have been the first name off your list, but carry on.
He shouldn't have been. But just off the fact that, because they don't, there's multiple reasons. Like, I'm factoring in like what the team actually needed. What you guys need a 9 more than you needed Jude. Really, you could have gotten by with another midfielder or something. I'm just saying. But like, given the fact that Jude, like the fact that he's the impact he's already had, coupled with the fact of like his price versus some of the other midfielders that were sold this year's price. All in all, seems like some good business. A true Galactico. I will give you credit for that. So That's 4, and then one more. Give my boy some love. Tottenham picking up Ryan Madison. Ryan Madison, James Madison. Love it.
Ryan Madison. Wait,
Call him
what?
Ryan
You threw
Madison.
me off for a
That's what
second.
that's what I got.
Wait, what? Wow. Go
Picking
ahead,
up our
dog.
boy. That's out here making them happen. But
Wow.
you with it.
Yes.
But yeah, so we
Here,
out
yeah.
here
Don't edit that. We gonna
picking
need to snippet that. Actually,
picking
keep
them
that.
up.
In
So a lot of people have been sold off Lester, but picking him up was great. Obviously, the way they seamlessly just snuck him in, gave him the 10 jersey, was perfect. Seamlessly going from 10 to 10, no big hole in the club there. Been balling. Ange Ball, rock and roll football's back. So I mean, he's been a great addition for the squad. Those are my 5.
I like it. Jacob, how about you?
Well, I'll be a little more respectful and say Jude first, because I mean, I don't know, that man, he's something different. But I feel like any top 5 list, you obviously have to start with Jude or Harry Kane. That's like the
Mhm.
2 obvious ones. I think McAllister is an obvious one, to be honest with you. Like, you see Liverpool, he's basically completely changed the way that club plays. I honestly also agree with Charles. For the sake of result, I have to include Madison, because obviously Ange is a part of it, but Tottenham is a completely revamped squad right now, and he's a big part of that. And they lost Kane, and they still look like a completely revamped squad. So I got to give the big ups for Madison. And then, God, the fifth one's where it gets tough, because there's so many different avenues you could go. But for me personally, I'm going to go a little different, because I know it's one of all of our favorite sleeper squads out there. I think Diaby to Aston Villa was absolutely massive. I think it was absolutely massive. I mean, that is, Aston Villa was already a sleeper, but adding him on the outside for 64 million was monumental for this team, like actually making a big push. And yeah, I'd be tempted to say Messi, but he's not in Europe anymore, so couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We go ahead, see.
One, I didn't rank those in order, but
With or without Jude, Madrid's finishing second, and with or
without Kane, Bayern's winning the league. So
that's why, like,
to me, it's like I felt like without McAllister, without Liverpool redoing their midfield, they're going to finish 6th. They're going to be back in Europa again. Like, that's like McAllister is more of an actual like
trajectory changing person. I feel
like Jude.
One way, whatever way you want to put it, Madrid's going to be 1 or 2 in Spain regardless, and Bayern probably still could have won a league
with Tell up front.
It would have been harder,
But they probably still could have done it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why like Kane's just more the cherry on top. I think that Kane gets him around further in the Champions League more so than anything.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Because like Kane and Jude are there for their name, whereas the other people we named are there for their impact at their clubs. And it's like, it's honestly insane. Like, a lot of transfers have worked out. I mean, there's been a few bottle jobs, but most of the transfers that were big transfers have been pretty solid. So it's good to see. Good for the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except for that, most of the transfers have gone well. Most.
Okay, bro. We're not even gonna go there.
I'm just saying, like,
I think like that's how I think of transfers now. How much was it? Was it a half a Havertz?
Havertz and a half.
That's how I look at players now. Like, did you get sold for a full Havertz? A Havertz, like,
how much is that? I'm just saying.
I just like, as much as I noticed, one thing we didn't do was we didn't mention any Chelsea players.
I don't know what they're doing, but the fact that they got
that much money for Mason Mount and Kai Havertz is a miracle of God.
I mean, I
But they
will
didn't do
say,
anything to improve, though. You know what I'm
if
saying?
Nkunku,
60 million or whatever they
Got
got.
170 million for the two of them. It's just great business.
if Nkunku was healthy, do you think that there would be a possibility that he would be maybe in the top 5?
No, I feel like the collective would be
Bringing him down too.
You're probably right.
Did you see, I saw a stat that Chelsea is number 1 in most big chances created, number 1 in and actually missed shots on goal, and number 1 in possession in the EPL, but yet they're 11th because they only have had 5. They can't score goals. They need Nkunku for sure, no doubt about it. There's a reason why Chelsea can't be on there. You can't. I mean, we're talking. They haven't improved. They're still a mid-table team.
They
And they've
have
had an easy schedule too. That's another thing. Their schedule, they Luton Town, like, come on,
players,
bro. Liverpool at the crib.
all their players are
Potential players though, like they spent $35 million 12 different ways on people who should be good. Like none of the players they actually. Nkunku was the best actual player they bought. Not that not what he can be. Like he's the best actual like on paper best player. They don't none of their guys are like. I feel like all their players are playing at their level. Like that's like they're just not better. Like Nicholas Jackson is playing right like as good as I think he should play.
Yeah. I mean, it was even the same way when they signed Enzo. Like Enzo's a stud, but it was all projectability. It was like we're gonna pay this much for Enzo because this is his ceiling and we think he can get there. It's like they're just young too. I mean, I know this sounds crazy to say, and this might be one of the biggest insults you could catch in the world of football right now, but Chelsea is basically just a younger, probably worse version of what United is right now. The club's a mess. Neither one of them can score goals. So, I mean, I don't know. They both might be on watch for becoming 10-pot clubs.
Depends on how you value the managers, though. But I do want to hold that, though. We'll get into that in a second. Yeah, y'all don't need to hear my top 5. We're good. We're good. Y'all have covered that pretty well. But it's early days. It'll be now. It's time to see how these transfers do, and obviously we're going to be starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, for all of us, Tuesday, Wednesday. Football for sure in terms of our number 1 squads. So that's what matters. So that's very good. And that's why I think, there's a way for ETH to take it to the next level if he has an opportunity here. Great segue into our next conversation. The Barcelona United. It's not so much a debate. I actually think it's what it is an exemplary club that we have in Barcelona. How can we build young? How do we fix our finances? How do we make sure our president is lock in step? How do we find that manager, etc.? Like being part of like creating the process. And getting us back to the glory days when a legend and the greatest player that's ever touched a football departs the club. And it didn't take them long to get back into the good graces of winning a La Liga trophy, or in terms of winning La Liga. And anytime you win that just matters. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the 3 biggest trophies in the world that you can have in football. So outstanding of the World Cup. And on the other hand, now we did this last September, so I want to caution ourselves. Last August, September, United was a mess last year. Even worse on the pitch, they were worse than what they are currently right now. It wasn't a good product because I think there's some heart there, and obviously when you have Rashford on the left, okay. But something has happened where Manchester United did become the biggest club in the world, and in fact, they would say from a business-wise is that they are, but in terms of actually knowing in terms of football, Barcelona can easily stake a claim. And actually, I would say the 2 Spanish giants in Barcelona and Real Madrid, it depends on who you want to talk to, are the 2 biggest clubs in the world. That being said, Jacob, I'm going to offer you the opportunity to defend this, okay? You're knowing what has happened. Let me just read you a couple things that's happened with your club. Okay. Last 3 years of Man United. 3 women now accusing our your own boy. How much y'all pay for Anthony? 90 mil?
90 M's.
Charles, did you hear that? 90 mil for Anthony?
We won't talk about it.
It wasn't 1, not 2, but now 3 women who've accused my man of some type of assault. We're not sure what's going on. Jane Sancho, what we need to talk about. I think Charles has some thoughts on Dortmund players, the grab bag of Dortmund players. The Greenwood, we'll just move on from there. Now Hatafe is, by the way, boy, oh boy, the Johnny Cochran stuff going on at Hatafe. The defending has been incredible. Standing by your man. It's been wild talks this week. Ronaldo and Piers Morgan, but that's okay. You just respected the ETH, but then, talk about where the club is. Eric Bailly, Jesse Lingard, another one of the young boys. Ragnick talking about the club, et cetera, et cetera. Luke Shaw coming out, who I think is one of your 2 best players, came out admitted a lot of Man United players weren't committed in 21-22. Bro, these things are happening a lot with, once again, people and of where people and their captaincy just got transferred. A lot of people would say, once again, is that Man United is one of the most influential clubs in the world. It's become a disgrace of football right now, without question. But Jacob, please, give us either defend this or provide some hope for your squad, because I'm not seeing it right now, bro, and I'm nervous about y'all not even finishing top 5.
Well,
I just want to know. After all you just said in that, why did you even have to bring Barca into this little mess?
I'm going to explain.
Just because Jesus Christ, you just listed a whole lot of things that I don't think we want to be associated with.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's a Barcelona. Listen, I'm trying to compare where y'all were, though. Where y'all were. 2012, around then, like that, like post Sir Eric Ferguson era. Excuse me. Charles, that's where y'all went this way. Once y'all got y'all boys up, those 3 up top, and with Messi and Neymar and Suarez, and where y'all went, and United has just had this. They were there. They were here. They were. In fact, they're the only treble winners up in, for some time. And then United has gone there, and where Barcelona has gone there. Then Barcelona came here. Now they're back there. That's why I want to bring it up for conversation. And you could be able to provide some history. Jacob, go ahead.
So the ultimate problem, I mean, I think everyone, especially everyone that's a United fan, knows it, is the Glazers are pretty much running the club into the ground. And they bought the club in 2005, and it was a little different because they had Sir Alex. And when you have Sir Alex, he was such a strong figure and so influential that he was able to maintain a level of excellence, but also maintain a level of organization. There's no organization within the organization right now. That's the problem, because the Glazers, it's like, I wish they would care as much about running United as they do about running the Tampa Bay Buccaneers whenever they did all that to win a Super Bowl championship. But that's neither here nor there. It's just frustrating because, first off, I don't understand why it seems like every single young or expensive player that United brings in, it's like it's part of the contract that they have to do something absolutely disgraceful to women. That's just absolutely terrible. I mean, listen, man, it's like I was saying when this stuff happened with Deshaun Watson. A certain amount of women come out, it's got to be true. Like, that's just the way it is. And then obviously, I didn't really think too much about the Ronaldo stuff, just because I feel like that was a little bit of a different situation. And I don't know. I don't know who to believe on the Sancho side. I literally don't. I mean, was it a little bit of a scapegoat? Probably. But also, I mean, they simply asked why Sancho didn't play, and all ETH did was answer the question. So it's like he didn't go out of his way to be like, "Oh yeah, we lost because Sancho couldn't go today because he was lazy in training." So it's I don't know, that's a terrible situation. It's just a mess. They literally the tweet with all the stuff in it that you said, ML says it best. The Glazers run this club like a circus, and I just wish they'd sell it. Like somebody that cares to bring the culture back, because that's the issue. The culture's gone. And me and Charles were talking about it in that group text like 2 days ago. And what makes Barca so special is the culture and the idea. Like they're selling the idea, whereas United never really had a culture or an idea. It wasn't United's culture. It was just Sir Alex. So now you see when Sir Alex retires in 2013, it's just plummeting downhill in trophies, in every aspect of a club. It's going downhill. So, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know if there is a fix so long as the Glazers are running stuff. And that's how I feel.
You have thoughts, sir.
No,
More than
I'm just
Mr. More than a club. I know that's saying
No,
you
no,
can
no, no,
come
no.
to the perch of like,
no, no.
saying
Because I don't. One, previously the problems were on the field. To me, the problems are less on the field right now and more off the field things. So like shit's kind of shifted in that sense. And like I hear everything you're saying about the Glazers, but like you guys are spending money. You're just buying the wrong players. So like it's not like you can sit there and say like I understand like they say they're not spending the money to like upgrade the showers and stuff like Ronaldo said, but like they spent the money to get Sancho, even though whatever's going on with him. They spent the money to get Anthony. They spent the money for Van der Beek and never played him. They spent the money for Mason Mount. They spent the money for Casemiro. Like they did spend the money for Bruno at that one. Like that was kind of like the start. Like it's not. I just think it's not like it's just a bad collection of players. Like if Greenwood had turned out decently, this would be a different conversation. If Lukaku, Memphis, any of these people, if Memphis was just his regular, like the player he is now for United, like you would be fine. If Lukaku was just the player he was now for United, he'd be fine. There's just to me, it's like it's bad management, but it's also like some level of bad luck. Like I said, like you're spending the money to get these players, and you just get the lemons. Like you get like none of the Brazilians are good. Let's just be honest. None of these Brazilian attacking players are good. We're spending every one of our teams has spent a lot of money on a Brazilian attacking player. The return on investment has been minimal at best. So like, but what are you not? You're not supposed to sign Brazilian wingers. Like that's the business, and that's the going rate for some of this stuff. So like, I don't think it's the end of the world. Like even the Sancho situation. Like we knew he was going to United for 2 years, and we knew that like y'all gassed him up. I thought he was good. I thought he was like, and everybody else would have spent the money too. Like your guys are making decisions that nobody else is doing or nobody else would have done. So um, I don't. You're close, and at the end of the day, we're saying all this, and you guys still made Champions League. So like, it's you're 3 players away. Two of those, two of your guys that panned out. Probably a different situation. Even given the scenario, if Green would have turned out, you never would have bought Anthony. You might have spent that money elsewhere. Just like all these little things that, like I said, I think obviously there's an organizational problem, but I also think on the
there
field,
you
like
go.
it's not nearly as far off as it could be. And we all know is like with all good teams, like sometimes really, dude, it's everybody's team's 2 players away. Like, I mean, Napoli got 2 good players, 2 ballers, and then were able to ride that wave to a title last year. You can do a lot with a couple of guys that can do some be some culture changers. So I just think they need one more midfielder, one more striker, one more attacking player, and then you could like properly judge the thing on the field.
I think sometimes like as much as there's a bunch of bullshit going on off the field, I think that is it's like so kind of removed. Like Glazer stuff and like what's going on with Marcus Rashford are two different, like they're just to me are relatively far apart. To where I don't think the thing with like them selling the team is affecting Marcus Rashford's day to day. I think the fact that he's playing with Anthony Martial has far more effects on his day to day than saying like that's all I'm saying. So yeah, organizationally, I think there's been some effect there, but they just need better players. They need to stop. They got rid of Fred finally. Like they need to stop playing with Scott McTominay. Um, shit like that. One thing I will say though, in the games that I went to last year in Europe, Luke Shaw was the single fastest person I've seen. I saw the entire time I was there. X can verify this as well. Luke Shaw was the fastest person we saw last year.
That's insane.
He's not really known for that though. The pace, that's crazy.
I'm like, Luke Shaw was flying a couple times.
Wow,
that's nuts.
But that was against Tottenham, though, right?
At the Lane, and me and X looked at each other like, "Is that?" Luke Shaw was moving different that day.
Wow. Okay. Listen,
yeah,
it's not to bash them, right? That's not what we're talking about here. It's to have the conversation about because we're going to get into this. It's going to lead into over the course of this year. We are going to figure out and define what does big club mean, because you just can't be sitting on your laurels with revenues just based upon your jersey sales, your ticket sales, and all that. Like, we're going to define a big club. There's a preview for everybody in the future. And we're going to define what does it mean to actually be world class. We're going to put some parameters around that.
And that question for 3 years.
Yeah, I think we're at a point of like where we've been able to have the conversation. So, especially now that Messi is out of Europe,
own goals, and all of a sudden they're world class. Somebody misses one sitter, no longer world class. Like
world class is a crazy adjective. It's so
it's used up a lot.
No, it is. That's the problem. It's so overused that it's like taking away the value from what world class actually is.
World class is the soccer version of he's going to play on Sundays.
Yeah. Like it's crazy. Also, just to go off what Charles said a little bit, I think the other problem with United right now is not only are you 2 players away, you're also extremely injured. And when you add those 2 together, then the product just looks even worse on the pitch. Like, genuinely, if they were healthy, they're still 2 players away from title talk, but I still think a fully healthy team would be right there for top 4. Whereas it's like now you look at it and it's like these first 2-3 months of the season are going to be rough.
They're a Gabrielle step back for being up 2-1 in that game. Like that's like sometimes sometimes we look at I feel like in some of this stuff we look at the result and we never we got to put stuff in context. Like we watched the game, like they weren't that far off. They were up 2. Like that. Like at the end of the day, that goal didn't count, but that goal was a goal. You know what I'm saying? Like they played through you guys. Like whether the step was there or not, like that's still like you guys have the components to make shit like that happen and be up 2-1. So it's like like I said, I think it's what's going on outside of the team and what's actually happening on the field, which is the shit that I'm interested in. Like I don't think you're that far off. I think you're still one of the. I might have picked you guys to finish like 5th, but like you're still in the mix.
I mean,
it's not football, but I mean we're trying.
That's how I felt watching that game. Is like missing some key guys, and realistically, we're right neck and neck with Arsenal for 92, 93 minutes. Then VAR calls back the goal because he was off by inches, feet, not by a lot. And then, I mean, you look at the rest of that happens from there. First off, subbing on Maguire, I don't care how depleted the back line is. I just can't stand watching that man play. But, I mean, the Declan goal was a deflection goal. I mean, Onana was in position, but it just so happened to ricochet even further left than he anticipated.
Upgrade? Do you feel like he's an upgrade?
Who? Hoyland? Rasmus?
No, not like got a lot of like
Pat Bev energy. He just do a lot of wolfing, but I think he was saying he
I don't.
he David the hair with a box cut.
Yeah, I mean, see, I can't even make that judgment yet because I need a clearer head because I'm still so upset with how De Gea sold in the FA Cup against City that I can't make a clear judgment on it. But the deflection goal, and then obviously we go all out attack. They score on a counter. So I mean, the game was literally so close to being a completely different result, and we're talking about the team that finished second in the league last year. So it's like, take it with a grain of salt and just go out there next weekend and try to beat a Brighton team that has looked really damn good. I mean, that's just really all you can do.
Also, I do want to note I think their coach is good.
Another thing we got to talk about, but let's let's see how he gets through the first three. Let's see how he gets through the first three
Thomas Tuchel
matches. Oh, that's wild.
It's for real.
That's crazy. Well, I thought we need to monitor this because I don't know when your sale is going to happen. I'm nervous that it could. Yes, you're 2 or 3 players away. We thought Amrabat, but now they're saying he's hurt. He got pulled from a Moroccan team this past week. All of this matters. It's just things just seem to when it's something bad that's happened in the football world, flip a coin and it's probably United. For real. That's just how it feels right now. And that's now a big club. One of the biggest clubs in the world should be moving. So just want to throw that out there. It's always good discussion. This week we just started, obviously, during the international break. The Ballon d'Or finalists have come out. As people said, I've always thought it's a two person race this year. In fact, I'm interested to see what the Barca boy has to say about that and actually how much weight a World Cup should be put on. But no, as we know, Lionel Messi, clearly a finalist. Erling Haaland, clearly a finalist. I don't want to go into because I don't like how they just listed 30 people should be like a fighter in terms of the short list for the awards. This isn't the Bob Cousy Award. It's not. I just don't like for college basketball, bro. We are talking about what is supposed to be the greatest individual prize. And there's in all of football, there's no short list for the NFL MVP when it comes to of 20 players. You get the NBA MVP. There's 3, then you vote on it, etc. So wanted to talk through it because in October we will have a winner. Charles, is there a case for Haaland over Messi at all?
Haaland was the best player in England. If we keep it a beam, Messi was the best player
in France last year. So
even as a club player, Messi was some regular ass club player last year. Still was the best player in France. So yeah, weight that plus the World Cup.
What is there to talk about?
He wasn't the best player in European Champions League.
Who?
Haaland.
That's cool. That's not the world though. It's not even I don't even want.
You don't even think it's debate? Seriously?
No.
Wow.
He's the best.
Hey,
as much as I love Haaland's a monster. Haaland plays on he's the best player on. He's not even the best player on the best team in Europe. So it's I get what
You're saying about all that stuff, but
it's not like Man City.
One, it ain't like Man City did make it to the Champions League finals by himself, without him, and it ain't like he did shit in any of those games down the stretch.
So maybe I would feel better if he had maybe scored a brace in the final or something. But there's a case to be
made that you could put Rodri, Rodri could finish above him because you could say Rodri was the best player on the team last year. See, I gave him some credit. because I'm watching him play right now.
Nah,
And
it's
he's
funny
on your
because
national team. Go ahead.
the
Go ahead, JK.
the odds makers agree because Messi is like minus 600.
Mm-hmm.
Holland is second at plus 350, but the problem is the top 6, 4 of them are City players. It's literally Erling, then KDB, then Rodri, then Vinicius Jr., and then Gunda. So that's a bad look when you got 4 teammates.
Yeah.
That hurts his argument. Yes, but I mean, Charles would be the first one to tell you McAllister was a badass boy, and so was out in the World Cup in Alvarez. And honestly, they were a couple Dutch plays away from being sent home if we keep it. It was super, but lots of penalties that went Messi's way. Let me just say this. One of the things I rank even higher is that, Holland wasn't even on that stage. So he got to chill and rest for the second half of the season. I actually think it played a toll of beyond whatever PSG had going on, but not making it out of the round of 16 at PSG is a failure. That's the one blip for him. But you shaking your head like, okay. But why was he brought there though?
Man, bro, you can't. That's not fair.
That's not even like given PSG's PSG-ness. That's not even fair to say some shit like that.
But you protecting your mans, though.
I keep it real about the situation. Don't put me in a fucked up spot and then get mad at me for not being acting the way you want me to. That's all I do. If I come to Indiana and we get jammed up, and I don't enjoy myself, and I'm not
Thriving in my most strong. That's on. I mean, you brought me into a situation that ain't for me. If I do the
Are
best
you
I
blaming the
can.
organization?
Yes.
Okay.
Man,
So, because you and I are both Russ fans, the comparison, even though they're not on the same level, do you blame the Lakers more than you blame Russ for their breakup?
I mean, I blame Bron more than I blame the Lakers.
So, meaning you blame Mbappe more than you blame maybe more than PSG.
I was getting at that.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I don't blame anything. And once again, Messi was still out there, had like the most assists in Europe last year.
just minding his business, just distributing. Hey, it's not.
I apologize to anybody who's watching this. This conversation shouldn't have lasted this long.
Here's the thing. I see. This is where I disagree with you on this, Charles. Because then it goes into the bigger discussion. How do you value club? How do you value country? Or you say all of it goes out the door when it's a World Cup year? I mean, I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yes, it's the biggest. We can sit here and call. We're talking about like you're trying to compare the Champions League to the World Cup.
The World Cup is the biggest trophy in the world.
It is. It's like we're not even debating that.
It's won by a mile.
So, yes, if I did that, and for all intents and purposes, I was the best player in the tournament. Yeah, if he got carried and like ended up like if he hadn't at least scored the goals, I might see your point.
But he's the catalyst for why they won.
I think the one man that would have had a case over Messi obviously doesn't because he lost to him. But if Mbappe wasn't a complete mental head case, that man might be winning this shit every year.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If
Whoever won that game to me would have won the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah. No, I mean
Mbappe gets I would be making this case for Mbappe.
I'm with you because on the world stage, like it's not like a club. You're not choosing your teammates like it's nationality. Like some nation, like Argentina was obviously one of the best all around squads there, but Messi was just clear. Like the only player who was on that level with him was Mbappe, and Mbappe lost to him. So it's
let's go. Sorry, my boy Lamine just scored.
Did Lamine score? I figured that's the only way you get that.
oh god.
the young king, 7-1 for the Spanish.
Maybe he'll get one in club in the next couple weeks.
We'll see.
Jesus, 7-1 is
I think-
insane.
So Holland, for example, are you willing to say in any other year he would get it? Say even the Euros.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's where I'm getting at. Okay. You just the World Cup BSB.
How can you win something that validates you as the greatest player ever, but it doesn't validate you as the best player of the year? Oh,
If there was no
Because
World
that's
Cup this
Cuba.
year, I think it would be Holland by like miles. But there was a World Cup, so it was either
Also,
to me.
and that makes without the World Cup, that makes the entire year different. So it's like hard to even
say that because it's like, well, damn, maybe Messi would have tried for PSG because he wasn't conserving himself.
True.
Okay. All right. All right. I just want to make sure we have the discussion because the Euros will be here next summer. Conversations will be had.
Neymar's injury would have been. He would have I'm just saying
The games that Neymar missed and stuff like that. Take the World
Yeah,
Cup
because
out.
Brazil was
Makes
playing well.
Makes a whole. I'm just saying he makes a whole different year for PSG as well.
Yeah, but all of it, for sure. All right, that's what's up. Messi will be getting the award. It'll be and then Ronaldo will figure out a way to come back and play for like a crazy team in Europe just to see if he can go get another one with their crazy ass rivalry. But it's this is going to cement Messi as obviously you've done it at the biggest stage. It almost felt like it was the Jordan 98 shot with Messi in the World Cup final. All right, quick lasting thoughts. Charles, the lasting thoughts are actually going to be changed around of where you were going to get some lightning questions from me, and Jacob, you're going to get some lightning questions from me as well. But this will be the lasting thought segment. Charles, who's been the best player for Barcelona this year?
Juice Koundé.
Hold on, press pause on that real quick. Charles, I know what his answer going
EDU Wi-Fi user.
to be. Charles, our segment lasting thoughts. We're going to ask you some very lightning round questions. Going to do the same with Jacob. The best player at Barcelona this year thus far.
Some tie between Frankie De Jong and
That's a tie. I'm sorry, those are the two best players. I can push this bet.
Fine. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Who are the FDJ and who?
Huh?
FDJ and who?
and Koundé.
Yeah. But would you give them like a 9? They're at a 9 rating, 8.5.
Mid-season form. Everybody else I feel like they're the two players that are in mid-season form. Everybody else seems to be, routing into the season.
Jacob, who's been the best manager thus far in Europe?
Might have to say Ange, not gonna lie. Just for what Tottenham's been able just right now. Obviously, if we're looking at the whole body of work, no, but if we talking the small 3-4 game sample size, I ain't gonna lie, man. Tottenham looks pretty crazy.
Boston Chicago.
You too, Charles?
Yeah. Just because,
I'm telling you. That shit.
They lost their best player, and he still changed the culture of the team.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Hey, my boy Sonny finally getting that shine with Kane going. I love to see it.
Always his little hat trick comes once a year. Everybody start talking to him. We don't see him for a month. All right.
When he ends up with 22 goals, don't say anything.
Bruh, Sonny is love that man, Sonny. I'm not gonna lie.
Highest Q rating in our group chat, Sonny.
I think it's a push. I'll call it with Charles. It's Ange. I think it's Jurgen Klopp. I think Klopp, bro, what Liverpool has going on right now and dealing with the Salah rumors, knowing he's Muslim, Middle East, obviously from Egypt and ties, and for him, the noise never bothers him. And then for me, in my opinion, bro, when they were down 1-0 to 10 men against Newcastle and to not only get an equalizer, but then also to win it at St. James. That's tough, man. And he's got that midfield ready to go. Slobosly is nice. McAllister's nice. And bro, they're winning without VVD. Like, that's another thing. And he also got suspended in the extra game because you can't be a captain going to talk to the referees. So that's that.
22. That's the one thing. Gravenbach's only like 22 as well. So like they got new midfielders. They got all young midfielders. I think McAllister's like the oldest one of those guys. Well, the guy they got from the Bundesliga is old, the Japanese or whatever guy. But the three big ones that they got are all relatively young.
I give
Liverpool's
the edge to Ange just because I do think Liverpool has a way better roster. Like, this is what Liverpool's supposed to be doing. Like, Tottenham doesn't have a bad roster by any stretch of the imagination, but Liverpool's roster, we've already seen what they can do, and they added McAllister on top of that. So it's like, also, I know Tottenham tied Brentford and Liverpool tied Chelsea, but I might have more respect for Brentford than Chelsea right now. So I'm going to give them a point for that.
Brentford, yeah. Their coaching solid. They know what they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just been team we not expecting. Maybe we get into the Europa Conference League. We know that's like our ceiling, but those dudes, they have a nice way of playing. They're actually enjoyable to watch.
They're not. I just don't like. I guess I don't.
I wouldn't give Klopp the edge or any. I'm not giving them. I wouldn't say not giving them credit, but they had an obvious hole in the squad. They fixed the obvious hole, and they're back to playing how they've been playing. Like they're just back to doing what Liverpool does. Like it's not like there was like some magic. There wasn't some magic formula. He didn't change the formation. We need midfielders. We got midfielders. We're back to playing like we should.
But Darwin, though, too. Darwin's gone up a level.
But if Darwin didn't come through, they would just put Gakpo up there and they'd be fine too. Like it's not. They have five very above average, like very good
attacking players. Like they're going to find three that work.
What a name! Where the United downfall started when he wasn't able to get Cody Gakpo.
Oh my God, y'all should have. Yep, I agree. That would have made y'all much dangerous. In fact, I think I would have called Arsenal.
Imagine Cody Gakpo being on the freaking wing instead of Anthony. You have a completely different squad.
Way different, for sure. Who's the best defender that you've seen this far, Jacob?
Oh, God. In like all.
Yep, all comps and all leagues.
It's one of the Barca boys. I just can't decide which one, to be honest with you.
It's Jules. Just go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
Koundé's been fired this year, dog. He's taking claim, dog. Like he got them like actions like he gonna be French captain one day. He's nice.
Which is insane because I feel like Big Ron kind of took the spotlight last year. And now Jules is just like Jules is nuts, man. Like realistically, I just want to rapid fire this to y'all off that question. So what you've seen with Jules right now, one, do you think he's the best center back in the world? Not just right now, but like in general. Two, how much bread would you have to pay to get Jules Koundé off Barca?
You
want to go first, Charles, or you want me to go first?
For 55.
We're gonna need some block for him. At least more than that. Bought him for 55. And no,
Ron's still the best defender on the team.
But he ain't been there though.
But the moment he gets back right, they're gonna put him
right back at center back. They're gonna put Koundé back at right back.
I wish one of them was left footed so they could just
pair them together.
I think that was obviously that's the
dream scenario, but they're both right footed. And Xavi prefers to play with a left footed midfielder. Left footed center back. So,
hopefully.
I'm sure like they could manage it. That would probably be the best scenario for them to be back there. The two of them. That's why Christensen and why the late great Eric Garcia
continued to play because he was good with both feet. But I mean, also I don't know how that's going to work when Cancelo's out there because it's like two different. If they're playing Cancelo, then one of them has to sit, and it doesn't make sense for both. You know what I'm saying? That's how I think them two being at the back is going to make it manifest itself. It's because you got to play. Yeah. Anyway, but Koundé's my answer for that.
Two of the three best informed defenders in the world actually are French. That's Koundé and Saliba. But for me, number one is Ruben Diaz. It's City. I don't know. I actually think they're better than they were last year, and that's crazy. And that's with even losing Gundo because I just think they just got so much better in the back. Like Gavardio, like they're just gonna. The only time that people are gonna score on them is if there's a mistake on their end, not because of or there's got to be like a worldy goal. They're not making mistakes, but I don't know. That's where I'm at. Guy with Diaz for me, but Koundé and Saliba have been incredible this year.
Yeah, it's really crazy. One City is just there's not a game that they play in the Prem that I don't expect them to win by like
Yeah.
2 goals. It's nuts. And then two, I had to sit here and shake my head for a second because Barca's talent on the back line is just stupid.
Mhm.
Like to bring in Cancelo, like whatever, man. I wish.
Right.
Like,
He's not even gonna play a ton of the Champions League potentially.
like, bro,
this
like
is wild, bro. They're so nice, bro. They are really good. Yeah,
I mean, God
there's
Almighty,
levels.
but it's the two Spanish giants, man. They both look absolutely primed for deep Champions League runs. That's all I'm gonna say.
Bro,
Very
if
deep.
we get that all classic, I would if we get it, that is my dream this year. London folks would hate it. But if we get El Clasico in the Champions League final in Wembley, it's going to be the first of all, it's definitely going to be the most watched match ever. Actually, I would say this: City Barcelona would be. By the way, families would be at war right now. But that's something, bro. I'm seeing. I know it's early, but you could tell how people are playing and like how rosters come together. And we know ball. I knew where City was going last year. It was just a matter of like if they were going to prioritize the league, and when they did, Pep was just like whatever. We knew they were going to win Champions League. It just depended on the draw. As soon as they avoided certain folk or certain times, they caught Madrid at the best time for them, for City. But actually, then that's my last question. I'm giving y'all a little bit, and that's my last question, y'all. We will make predictions next week. Jacob, you will have to be on for that. We will make predictions in our groups next week. We'll have B as well. Now that you've seen things, what is your dream? What would you like to see in Wembley? What would be your dream Champions League final? And you can include your squad.
I mean, if I included my squad, that'd be more than a dream. That would just be high on crack because that's not happening. Oh man. Well, obviously, all right. I think everyone's got this some culmination of the core four, right? Like they probably want 2 of City, Bayern, Barca, Madrid. I mean, I think those are the 4 most talented and most entertaining squads. So to me, it's got to be some culmination of those teams just because I know my squad's not making it. But dream scenario at Wembley, I would probably say City and Barca. Yeah. I mean, just because we've already seen City and Madrid. Plus, Barca, Messi leaves. They win La Liga last year, and then making the Champions League final would be like that final jump and the final stage, even if they don't win it, of, we're back. Barca's been back. It would almost be like a statement if they make it to the UCL final in only year 3, 4 of Messi's departure. Be kind of nuts. It would be nuts. Like, it really would.
What about you, Charles?
I mean, obviously, in that scenario, I would be in Wembley. There would be nothing on this earth that would keep me from there. So I'm gonna be locked in for that. Obviously, Barca's there. I don't. The draw always we might have to revisit this after like the round of 16 draw comes out because
Yeah, of
there's
course, which is fine. But
always one team that always comes out with like this easy ass draw. Like Leon had a couple years ago, like ended up with last year, where it's a lot of favorable matchups on the way in. But yeah, I'd go obviously because it's in Wembley, an English team. And there, so like, I would probably say City versus. I would like it to be Barca, but I wouldn't mind like City Bayern, like Harry Kane when he, trying to win a big trophy in Wembley that way. So I wouldn't mind that either. Yeah,
That was my
obviously
second option.
Yeah,
I don't want Madrid to.
And again, I don't think City could do Bayern like that again.
I think they still might win,
But I don't think they'll like. I think Harry closes the gap that they like
close the gap in that
matchup from last year.
It depends if young Jamal gets plays up to level, but seeing Harry back at Wembley, his home country, and also would be the biggest middle finger to Tottenham, especially if they go trophyless this year against City would be incredible. And Harry's a City killer too, by the way. That's the other thing. He has a good record against City. He ain't scared of Pep. Now, the other thing would be that's Tuchel going against Pep again too, and we've seen that before.
He probably be there.
In this scenario, he's probably not the coach. Probably not the coach by then.
Tuchel? Charles, come on.
Bro,
I didn't know you was going to take it that way. They may be too good. Charles, they may be too good, though.
I don't think that's more reason why he might not make it.
I mean, depending on how Leverkusen do it, because you see my boy Granite out there, Leverkusen on smoke right now. It's early days, but once again, you can see how a team forming. For me, because I would prefer Ancelotti. Like, I want Jude. Jude needs to win the league. They ain't gonna be able to get to Champions. Like, I'm just gonna be realist. Unless Mbappe's there, they just don't have enough. Midfield, yes, they don't have enough up front. You need to get goals, and midfields there's enough teams that have midfields that are just as good. So if I did not have Madrid there, obviously for the streets, Arsenal Barcelona would just be a fucking movie in Wembley because that's really my squad's outside the Emirates. That's really our home stadium because once again, 14 FA Cups. But it would be fun.
It would divide the group chat. Friendships would be.
It would be over. It would be over. I'm not sure whether we make it back on the flights.
Yeah, it'd be.
We may not make it back on the flights. We'd have to take separate joints. We like Ghost and Angela came down to Miami together, separately on the way back.
Okay, yeah. I don't want that.
Just for, like I said, that shit might divide the group chat.
We'd be on the plane and X coming too. Actually, we bringing JK probably coming to be the mediator.
We're bringing Dion. I'm saying we're gonna fight Carter because he's just gonna hate on whoever lose.
Yeah. That's obviously for the streets. That's what I want. But all right, fellas. I'm so glad we got to do this. Next week we are going to do our Champions League predictions, as well as our five-a-side. We'll keep it quick, short. Obviously, we know American football's going on, but don't forget to check out some of the qualifications. Congratulations to young Lamine getting his first international goal. 16 years old, boy in some states he'd have to still drive with his parents to get, you know what I'm saying, to go to a group date. But right now, the young man is obviously one of the best prodigies that we've, in my opinion, that we've seen in Spain on quite some time. And JK, the reason why I want to talk about United on a level of understanding is I don't think all is lost. 2 or 3 players, and I think y'all are almost to the point of too big to fail, but we'll see. You never know with the culture. So JK, make sure you plug your stuff. Make sure you are clicking, like, subscribe, everything on Multiplicity Media. Our boy JK, thanks, brother, for all that you do. Our man Charles is he's just gearing up, man. He knows he is seeing me serious face. He knows this Champions League time coming up for his boys. Twice a week football is almost here.
Toby Ottawell in Antwerp. I'm not really worried about anything. Strap like
You're nasty.
trust me. Play the theme music. We good. We good money out here.
Get the popcorn ready. There we go. Y'all take care. Appreciate y'all listening.